Welcome to Behind the Curtain, Nashville's movers, shakers,
and tastemakers.
Brought to you by Cord Real Estate, your key to the heart of Nashville. I'm Steve Luther alongside my co-host Van Hoy.
Here we peel back the layers of Nashville's vibrant scene, sitting down with the innovators, creators, and leaders who shape our city. From music to business and everything in between, we dive into the journeys that have brought them to where they are today.
We're here to uncover the stories behind the success, the passion driving their pursuits, and why they've chosen Nashville as their stage. It's about the people who dream big, push boundaries, and make this city truly unique.
So join us as we explore the heart and soul of Nashville through the eyes of those who know it best.
Today we're joined by Elizabeth McMillan, founder and CEO of equestrianprofessional.com, a nationally respected horse business consultant, executive advisor, equestrian athlete, and speaker. For nearly 2 decades, Elizabeth has worked across the equestrian industry, helping complex equine ventures become financially sustainable, operationally credible, and investable. Her clients range from Olympic and upper-level professional riders to horse show managers, facility owners, equestrian-centered businesses, and real estate development teams integrating equestrian assets into larger projects. Elizabeth is often brought in at the earliest stages of a venture when assumptions are unclear, capital decisions are looming, and business models don't yet exist, to pressure test ideas, align incentives, and ensure that the horse business strengthens the overall investment rather than becoming a liability. With a rare combination of hands-on competitive experience, business model design, and capital level thinking, Elizabeth operates at the intersection of sport, business, and real estate, bringing clarity to an industry that is often passion-driven but financially misunderstood. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Wow.
Thanks for having me.
Passion-driven.
Passion-driven.
I like it.
So how did you get started in this business? Let's hear the life story.
Okay, let's see. I started riding probably before I could walk because my babysitters would throw me on the back of their horses.
Wow.
And then picked strawberries to afford my first riding lessons at 7, and then had paper routes and that kind of thing. And then rode competitively as a junior. And then it turned into my profession. So I was a competitive rider and ran a 100 jumper barn in Santa Barbara, California. And then I started importing horses from Europe, did that quite a bit. And then kind of one thing led to the next. And then eventually I ended up in consulting. So that's my story.
Importing horses from Europe. That sounds interesting.
It was fun.
Very exotic.
Yeah.
So you were always kind of around the industry. When did you first really start to feel the passion that you wanted to compete?
I think that really came in stages. I think that I was kind of a shy kid, and the barn was my refuge initially. But I was at a competitive show barn, and so competing was expected. And so, so you just go in there and you do it. And you get used to it. I mean, you learn the mental skills to get in the arena and perform. And you learn both hard and soft skills so you can go and do it. And then my first trainer did a lot of sales. And so it was really natural for me to step into buying and selling.
That's good. We were talking the other day about how growing up, sometimes you force your kids to take music lessons or tennis lessons or whatever, horseback riding, right, whatever. And it's not necessarily just so that they have an activity. It's part of building their character,
100%.
and to create the humans that they're going to be, whether or not they really love the activity. It's something that they learn discipline, they learn how to give and take, they learn to show up even if they don't feel like it, and they might actually learn to love it at some point.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I don't know a ton about competitive horse riding.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot of different types and events, right, and things. Like what were your specialties?
So I did show jumping. So they would be called hunters and jumpers in the US, right, show jumping in Europe.
Is that where you've got the bars and the water pit and all that stuff, and you're
right? So there's show jumping and there's eventing. So eventing also goes over a show jumping course, and they do cross country. But show jumpers and hunters do all arena mostly. And so It's one of the Olympic sports. So I think there's 7 Olympic sports now that are equestrian based. So it'd be show jumping, dressage, eventing, endurance. I'm gonna driving and vaulting, I think.
So where does something like the Iroquois steeplechase land in all
that's
this?
actually racing. So in the horse industry, just to kind of give you some scope, the horse industry contributes 177 billion to the U.S. economy. The music industry contributes 221.
Is that right?
It gives you an idea of scale.
Wow, there it is.
Yeah.
So why it can get kind of complex is the horse industry includes racing, recreation, competition, and now equine assisted services. So if you feel confused by it, that would be a sign of intelligence because it's just that diverse.
What is equine assistance?
Assisted services.
Services.
That is the latest
it's like
moniker, essentially, that would cover equine therapy for kids that have autism or
so you have emotional support ponies.
I mean, sometimes they're used that way.
Wow. Can you imagine seeing that come on an airplane with the peacock and everything? Oh, yeah.
I'm just thinking, somebody called the Airbnb like, I've got a service animal.
Like, okay.
It's sort of like that. But the other thing is that the horses gait. So if you have a kid who, I'm trying to think like a cerebral palsy type kid, when they ride the horse, it mimics the human's walking. It mimics how your spine would work. And so people see huge impact from equine therapy. And I say equine assisted services because now they use horses for equine assisted learning. They use equine assisted therapy. It's just gotten really, really diverse. So that's an umbrella term.
That's amazing. I have a bronze pony in my backyard.
Do you?
Yeah. I was like, everybody needs a pony at some point for their birthday.
How often do you ride the bronze pony?
Okay, now that didn't come out well.
Let's just say it has been done. And sometimes my parents, that would be me. My kids' friends' parents will show up and send selfies on the pony. And we'll be out to dinner and we get pictures sent to us and they're on the pony in my backyard, So, oh yeah.
I was kind of imagining more mechanical bull.
Oh, no. I used to have that when I was touring.
If you could adjust your...
Right. Yeah. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
I used to tour with a mechanical
do that in an event
bull. Yeah,
absolutely. That client event. The mechanical bull.
Our insurance wouldn't cover that anymore. That's back in the day.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
But,
rodeo would also go under the categories of all the different horse.
Oh, right, of course.
So. Yeah. Man, that was a big deal in Houston. I grew up in Houston, and the rodeo was like massive down there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have that up here. I don't feel like.
There's rodeo that happens here.
Actually, Nashville just hosted, I think, the National Rodeo Association event of some sort at the Bridgestone, and then they do have bull riding events come here. Because
she just called you Dwight.
Okay.
those sports actually have a big enough spectator base to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones don't. So.
This is like a totally off the wall question, but
here it comes. You never know.
With all of these what's his name? Sheridan.
No, I know who you're
Taylor.
talking about.
Taylor Sheridan. Yeah.
With all of these Taylor Sheridan series out now, the
Yellowstone,
the 4 Sixes Ranch and Yellowstone, all this stuff.
Right.
Has that brought like more interest to the industry?
So get ready for
this. It would
this.
have to.
So the music industry grew by 17% over the same period of time. The horse industry grew by 45%.
Wow.
I would say that is...
Who says TV's dead? Come on.
No, I would say it's a combination of horses making it to mainstream, like Yellowstone. I think we for sure saw people I want to be a cowboy, right?
Right.
For sure that happened.
At least dress like one.
But...
That's what they come to Nashville for. Get their boots and the buckles.
Yeah,
it's only the tourists that wear them.
Well,
But no hot pants. We don't.
We don't do the hot pants.
But where was I going with this? Okay. I think social media has had a really big effect because of the visual aspect of it. The more live streaming started to happen and people were seeing events from all over the world, and people, it just brought horses into people's phones.
Right. It makes it accessible.
Then the pandemic hit, and it was one of the sort of approved sports, you know?
Right.
And so most people I work with, their businesses just grew like crazy during that time.
Very cool. COVID approved.
Well, I mean, there probably was a better way to say that, but that's how I said it. So
I love it.
So, I mean, I would imagine getting into like competitive equestrian sports, it's very similar to other sports. I mean, I'm sure people are spending all day, every day, just practicing and prepping, and to be at the Olympic level, I would imagine it's pretty insane.
Yeah,
the amount of training.
Yeah. So Olympic level riders typically have a group of horses that they're riding, and then they're usually training for clients as well. So they have to sort of pay their bills in the meantime. But yeah, they spend a lot of hours in the saddle and a lot of hours on the ground, and it's incredibly physical and devotional, I would say, because it's something that's your whole life. It's not a part of your life if you're competing at that level.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's relatively dangerous as well. I mean, I think a lot of people end up with like back and neck injuries.
And that it's just a part of it. There's more safety equipment now than there used to be, but yeah, one injury can ruin a rider for, it can end a career for the rider or similarly for the horse. So
they don't come with seatbelts.
I mean, we could try that. I think they have those at the pony rides.
Yeah,
I think I've seen those.
That's right.
But for adults, I don't know. But we could adapt something.
I remember where we used to go to the beach. They offered pony, or horseback riding on the beach, and I remember the first time I got up there, they gave me a pregnant horse because they knew that I'd never been on a horse, and I was like, I can't. They said, give it a little kick. I said, I can't kick the baby. I was all freaked out. But they were like, it'll be fine.
If we're telling side stories.
Oh, well, there's always a side.
I remember doing a horseback ride in the Caribbean.
Ooh.
Thinking, this will be amazing. You ride down the mountain onto the beach and like out into the water a little bit.
Right. Throw back the hair.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. Swish. But horses go to the bathroom a lot.
Oh.
And when you're riding out in the water.
Oh.
It floats.
This just took a turn. It took a turn. What's the next question on this sheet? We got Steve's questions here. What's next here? You frequently
be prepared, people. Riding a horse in the ocean.
Oh.
You got to watch what you're doing there.
I mean, I'm an expert, and I don't know if I would have even thought about that. And I'm wondering, as you're talking, is that true for all horses, or was it that your horse wasn't feeling well?
Ooh.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like
that gives a whole new meaning to that song "Cake by the Ocean."
Okay, let's.
I feel like we're
drifting.
GNC.
Go a lot.
Ooh, look out!
You just gotta lift the legs. Lift the legs.
Wow. Well, what are we talking about now?
Okay,
we're back on track. Oh my gosh, what just happened?
I would imagine that a lot of people that get into the equestrian industry, it is very much passion driven, but it is a business as well. Your focus is largely on the financial aspects of things. What do you see are like some of the things that go wrong most often in the equestrian business? Well,
tight margins. You're taking care of live animals that we were talking earlier can get hurt easily, and that type of thing. A lot of emotion, usually when people around horses. There's a combination of reasons for that, but some is the physical danger, some is the care for the horse, some is ego, there's a lot all wadded up in there. So you have to be very good at relationships, operations, because if you're competing, you have to make sure that all the trucks and trailers and horses and people and all that kind of stuff gets everywhere it's supposed to go. And in the meantime, you have to be good at the financial piece. And that means really having your finger on the pulse, but also a lot of that has to do with what market position you have. So if you're working with lower end, I don't like to say that about an animal, but if you're working with a lower end group of clients and horses, the profitability can sometimes just not be there.
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes a hobby.
Yeah,
Expensive.
But some people don't mind. So some of my clients in the past have been people who are trying to essentially legitimize a hobby. So I've represented somebody on an IRS hobby loss case. Like it's not unusual.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's tricky because it's a business that can have high expenses and low returns, but there's also business models that are quite profitable. And so it depends on what somebody's doing and what business model they're using and how well they use their model, if that makes sense.
So you work with people that are raising, I guess, venture capital to run different types of businesses. What are some of the businesses that are very profitable and do make a lot of sense for investment?
Okay. Well, the most profitable would be the horse show model, probably like something like Thermal or World Equestrian Center or World Equestrian Festival. So the horse show model is typically the most profitable, both hosting the events and that there's a lot of downstream economic impact that those groups nowadays also build development around, which is where that one of those interesting intersections of real estate and equestrian. So they look at how can they capture as much economic impact from the events as possible. So now that those series or horse show series are basically from December through almost April now. People oftentimes have second homes there, and there's a whole bunch of different revenue streams and profitability factors. So I would say that one is probably one of the most profitable. It's also layered, as you can imagine. So like it's the horse show, but layered on top of it is the development piece. And then I would say buying and selling can sometimes do quite well with that. It's harder nowadays because horses are just super expensive everywhere and they're hard to find. And then the other thing that's happening more and more is that there's luxury developments happening where they want to have a recreational equestrian arm to it. And I think that one's tough because it's really hard to draw a straight line between home sales with that, profitability with that. And the horse part, it adds to the brand. It probably adds to who it affects who shows up. It affects their marketing, a lot of those things, but it's very hard to draw a straight line there.
Well, they sure figured that out in Hidden Hills in Calabasas. We have a partner who's there, and I mean, my goodness, you got all the celebrities and the whole neighborhood. Everybody has access, and you have direct access to all the fields. And it's amazing.
It's a common model in California.
It's incredible.
And it's become more common here and other parts around the U.S. And then also we're seeing that it's part of international real estate as well. Like there's high-end developments in, France, Italy, what have you, and they have an equestrian element, and they might bring in an Olympic rider to bless it, for example.
Similar to like getting a famous player
like a golf course.
Endorse the golf course.
Yeah, very much. And so there's a lot of different models, and then then there's just the standard, training stable, and people can do okay with that. They have to be disciplined. They have to really look at, who their customer segments are and how they're delivering value and what that value, like the value proposition, I think is the core of any business and the branding piece. And then does delivering that to a client make the business a profit?
Right.
So
I know we've got quite a few of them around here now. I've never really dug into like the financials behind them. I kind of assumed they worked almost like the neighborhoods where they have like a collective farming kind of thing, where there's like a farmer that kind of manages the crops and stuff, and then everybody can like buy into like the
yield
to the yield. Yeah, I just kind of assumed that the equestrian communities work similarly. They probably have someone that kind of manages something and then just kind of given that property. But how do they typically work?
It very rarely works when they do that.
Okay.
That's oftentimes like what I'm brought in to fix later.
Okay.
Because what you typically end up with that is, I don't know what you call it. Like there's so many people trying to lead the direction that it can end up just being unsustainable socially. There's just so many conflicting ideas about how the horses should be handled and that type of thing.
Yeah, I feel like here it seems like it's more about the people that buy in the community, they just like to see the horses as they're driving by. They're not like super involved. Like they don't want to ride. They don't really care about that.
And that's a really good point.
Yeah.
There was a development I was working on in New York, or working with some of the people that were on it, and their buyers for the real estate. There was a really nice barn there, but they were never going to move their horses there, and good training there, because they all pretty much rode on the circuit with their own trainers. So it had a different, the equestrian part had a different mechanism. So like the buyers of the homes, they probably leave their horses on the circuit with their real trainer, and then they would stay fit riding at the development.
Interesting.
But it's just, so you have to really, really know your market, because the recreational rider is really different than the competitive rider, but the financial demographic of the competitive rider is typically more consistent with someone who's going to buy high-end real estate.
Right. So. Wow.
So you work with Olympic level riders.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's some business financial things that they have to deal with as well. How do you help like an Olympic rider sort of align their competitive goals with financial reality?
Yeah. So one of the things that I really believe in for competitive barns and competitive riders, especially high level, but really all of them, is that the competitive direction of the trainer / rider or professional really affects the business. So if you try to separate the two, you usually end up with one side cannibalizing the other. So if the financial piece cannibalizes the rider's success, you no longer have something that's attracting clients. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah.
And same way the other way if they can't support it. So usually how those are done is I help them put together the financial model of syndicates. So we buy the horses. We find a group of people to buy horses, or to invest in horses for them, and that can be done where one of the horses might be a resale horse, so that person's hoping to generate some revenue through that. And other times it's done through more that the person wants to support that rider. They also want a seat at the table, because you can imagine that the VIP tables at these events have pretty important people.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
So sometimes people invest in horses for that reason. Sometimes they're investing or a syndicate because they really believe in the rider and they want to support the rider. Other times, it's a group of people buying one horse for one rider, and they're all there just cheering them on because they love the sport so much and they love the rider. So it's so much about really looking at who does that rider connect with, and why do people want to invest?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Is it typically more just like wealthy individuals that are investing in this kind of thing? Do you see like BlackRock or any of these big institutional investors getting into the equestrian business at this point?
Well, Steve McCord, who used to own the Dodgers, did buy a 50% share of the Longines Global Champions Tour, which is a show jumping event. I don't know, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. So sometimes big money invests in, I hope that wasn't crude that I said. Anyway, sometimes they will invest in that part of the business.
Sure.
Sometimes they buy into syndicates of horses. But then there's also people who, it's just a group of riders at a barn.
Right.
And they all put together so that their barn and their trainer at their barn has a nice horse to compete on. So, I mean, it's just super diverse. Did I answer the question, or did I lose track of it?
No, that was perfect.
Totally. I would have imagined that there was more interest, and maybe this is just because of movies and TV, but I would have imagined there was more interest in, like, trying to, pick the next winner of the Triple Crown or whatever,
Well, that's a whole nother thing. So you can, with racehorse syndicates, they work pretty different than show jumping or competitive horse syndicates. So there's Little Red Feather Syndicate. There's also, I don't think what the racehorse one is, where, I mean, essentially you can buy in, it's all really fractional, so a group of people can get, buy a Derby winner, just like what you're saying. And I think there was a group that did that, and then they all get to go to the races,
right,
that type of thing. And so those are geared very differently, and they usually involve a bloodstock agent of some sort, or somebody that's, finding the horse and getting the sale done, and then matching the goals of the syndicate. Usually you have a syndicate manager. Anyway, but it's different depending on the sector, and racing is like, it's totally its own sector.
Mm-hmm.
We did one once at my barn. We started out, syndicates were really new in the horse world, but I was like, if I could do a syndicate, I could bet better horses. Right? So we had this, my sister broke racehorses, and we knew this one really nice racehorse. And my best friend growing up was the photo finisher for all the Southern California racetracks.
Cool.
So we knew we could put the horse with a good trainer through him. And so we bought this horse and put together a syndicate of 10 people. I think it was I don't know. I wouldn't say it was a $5,000 horse. This is, years and years ago. So
sure.
Not expensive. And it didn't end up, we knew if it didn't run, it moved well enough to be a show horse. So we did that. So there's so many different ways you can get involved. And that was like, that was just like, my brother-in-law and, like that, more of that kind of thing.
I want to hear about how that transition moment when this whole world went from being your hobby and activities to you deciding this is going to be a career. Like, how did that transition happen? Like, what was that pivot moment?
Well, it feels like that's a little bit, so because I wasn't a kid whose parents could pay for me to ride, they couldn't, afford me to ride. I was a working student from the time I was 12, I guess.
Okay.
So I was already in it. You can't turn professional till you're over 18, but I was already, trading, riding, and all that stuff for
being
lessons.
Paid.
Yeah, not essentially being paid in education.
earning your horse time.
Getting paid in education.
Right.
And then I put myself through college breaking racehorses.
Wow.
And then
there's something to put on the resume.
Yeah.
Put myself through college breaking
horses.
horses.
It's more correct to say starting racehorses. Believe me, like the first thing that I was told was, there's not a horse on this property that's not worth more than you.
Wow.
Think back, like I was in college in 1980, and the yearlings that were coming in for us to break, wasn't uncommon for them to be $500,000
in 1980.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I think the cheapest one was 80,000.
Wow.
So they were. We were. Everything you did was like, when you say breaking, it really doesn't cover it. Everything was so careful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a different.
It's a harsh world.
Yeah, it was. It is.
Do you find this industry, like farming, for example, over the years, it used to be a lot more small individual farms, and now they've all sort of started to combine into these massive companies that control much more of the farming industry now. Has it been a similar situation for the equestrian world? Is it largely kind of dominated by these particular farms, or is it still very?
That's such an interesting question. So I would say that like thoroughbred racing, like, Lexington, I would say that it's highly, like, it's mostly the big farms, I think, that I see success with. I think it's different in the competitive horse world. I see so many different combinations work.
Which is cool.
Yeah, and the other thing I've seen that's interesting is every now and again I'll work with somebody who basically has a backyard business, but it's more profitable than, like, if you were to actually look at real profit, it's more profitable than the fancy one.
Wow.
You never know what's going on behind the scenes of a business.
Sure.
It can be very different than what you see. So.
Now you also work with like mainstream companies that are looking to sort of enter the equestrian market. What kind of advice do you give them? Like, how do they do this in an authentic way? What kind of things should brands avoid that are trying to get into this?
I think there's something called social license to operate nowadays, and that really would line up with the photos and images and videos that you share on social media, because there's a lot of critics, and so you have to be very careful about what you put out there.
Right.
So I would say to a brand, you really need to have somebody on your team that understands the equestrian niche. Also, that it's very siloed, so one group may not get along with another group. You need to look at what part of the market you want to reach with your product, because a shotgun like scatter of like effect is often going to alienate you from your most important market segment. You have to really know that, and then picking some riders to sponsor can be really good. That's different than a syndicate. Rider sponsorships are going to help people recognize your product because it's aligned with riders that they already know. So equestrian influencers are a real thing.
Equestrian influencers. You heard it here.
So you mentioned critics, and I don't want to take this too negative or political or anything, but
here we go.
I have heard a lot of people talk about like the walking horses are kind of a big thing, like south of Nashville,
right?
Like Shelbyville, or I guess
not
Shelbyville.
More.
Yeah, like what was the situation there? I and the story was there were a lot of abuses and of the animals and those kinds of things.
There were, yeah, and actually legislation got passed. It's actually called passed. It's the PAST Act to prevent all soaring tactics. Recently, in the last few years, it used to be that act was to make something that was initially a misdemeanor become a felony, because pretty much no matter what people did, there was still that was just part of the culture there. And the walking horse industry, to give you an idea, I don't know if I can give you an idea. It is so much smaller than a lot of the other parts, like the horse show series that. Like Thermal, they might have 3,000 horses, and that's it's I want to say it's a regional show because that's not fair. It's it's a big show on the West Coast, like I think Walking Horse Celebration. I'm going to get this number wrong, but I would guess maybe 300 horses.
Oh, okay.
So the scale was the amount of the amount of harm that did to the entire horse industry,
right,
versus the amount of people involved. Was significant. And there are people in walking horse that don't do the soaring tactics. But when that all came out, it did, like, Shelbyville kind of became a ghost town, and I don't have any problem with it becoming a ghost town. You're not like I thought it was probably some of the sickest stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. I guess I'm ignorant.
Is that
and that's
just kind of gone away, or is that moved to other states?
I think it's I think it's significantly reduced. And some of the good walking horse people have shown up where they have the unshod, classes and things like that. And I'm not an expert in it. That's not a discipline I work with. It's hard not to be, and it's hard not to be political. I want to just really say something clearly here is that there are good people in that industry too.
Sure.
But what happened in that industry was inexcusable.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ignorant, so I'm going to have to Google this and read about it tonight because I'm like, I've heard of Tennessee walking horses. I don't know anything about it. So
yeah, it's gory.
It was a big story years
ago. The details are gory, and so it's not something that would really be.
Gotcha.
We want to keep this. We were having fun a minute ago.
Yeah, we sure were, Steve.
Back to the business side. So with tight margins in different aspects of this business, how do you help operators think differently about utilization and scale, long-term viability? How do you work through those kinds of things when margins are so tight?
So it depends on the business, and what I always do. I'm not someone that believes in you put a template on a business. I know some people do, but that's not how I work. Mm-hmm. So I pretty much always do an assessment of the business, of the person running the business, and their competitive record, all the different things, and then I use a business model canvas. And the reason I do that, and mine is a little bit different than the standard one, because I put core brand integrity in the middle along with the value proposition. And then from there, we really look at how the business mechanically works, how it's engineered to make money. And then from there, we start to see places where this one service is actually upside down. And if we correct that, either we drop it, like it's kind of like playing blackjack. You see, okay, this is a good hand, we're going to double down. This is a crap one, we're going to fold.
Right.
But a lot of people, so I work very much like my process would be do a business model canvas, and then I'm going to go straight to a pro forma and I'm going to come up with some assumptions, and I'm going to run those before I ever do a business plan, because I think it's a waste of the client's investment in me to spend money on a business plan before we have an idea of is this going to correct it, or is this going to be profitable?
Elizabeth McMillan, the horse business whisperer. I like it.
Okay.
Just, if you ever need anybody.
Do you think kind of starting, I know you were always kind of involved in the business aspect of things as well, but do you think coming in as a competitive rider affected the way you handle your consulting and strategy? And are there people that get into this that are coming more from just like a business consultant background?
I think you really have to be inside. I think it's important to be inside the sport. The things I learned from running my own business and from being a competitor, I wouldn't be able to do the consulting that I do now without that. You have to learn. You learn a lot about relationships and maintaining relationships. You learn a lot about operations. You're dealing with, expensive horses and
right.
And I think the international experience, like I couldn't do what I do now without my background. There's just I just wouldn't feel like I don't know. Somebody, one of my consulting clients who's a dressage rider, and she's actually legally blind, and she's quickly becoming one of my most favorite people because she's just gritty and kind-hearted and every good quality. And we were talking about there's a barn that she's at, and she's moving to another one, but she said the problem with people with no standards is that they don't know when you've raised the bar.
Oh, wow.
It's so true. So sometimes what happens is somebody comes in and they don't know what the standard is.
Right.
and then they're talking to someone else who doesn't know what the standard is. It never goes well. So I think that does help. It helps a lot. I mean, it helps a lot.
Sure.
That's good.
Okay, what is dressage?
Dressage. Dressage is an Olympic event, or one of the Olympic events. It also, there would be horse shows around the United States. And it is sort of like the ballet of, so it's horse and rider. Dressage stands for training, but it's horse and rider communicating at a very high level and performing movements. Do you remember the Olympics when Snoop Dogg and Martha they were watching dressage?
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
I think I missed that part. I vaguely recollect them being with horses, but
I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I will
say it. Say it.
Okay, so it's watching horse sports is even boring for the people who do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, like, we like to watch for a while.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm watching show jumping, live streaming all the time, and good dressage rounds, but don't ask me to sit at a dressage show or a regular horse show all day unless I'm riding. Just like that. Just you're not the.
That's why there are other activities going on. It's a festival.
I feel the same way about golf. Like, I love to golf. I appreciate that people enjoy watching golf. I don't understand.
That's awesome.
It's not excite me at all. But
so what is your sport?
Oh, he loves to play golf.
Yeah, golf really. That's probably my
pickleball.
Pickleball.
Lately, it's been pickleball.
Although there's this new. We're like way off topic now. We're talking about horses. We're talking about pickleball.
Horses.
There's a new sport now that all these celebrities are into. It's called.
What is that?
I think it's called Tiptic or something like that.
Tiptic.
Yeah, it's on a pickleball court, but it's a different ball and it's a different racket, and it's supposed to be almost like a combination of tennis and badminton.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
But like if you hit something into the net,
right?
If you can get to it and like hit it with your hand or kick it or whatever over before it hits the ground, it still counts.
I mean, I think badminton.
Okay.
I think badminton should have taken off more than it.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
A little bit of.
You watch some of that stuff on the Olympics.
That's exciting.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
like
exciting.
Badminton and ping pong in the Olympics.
It's hardcore.
Like, I've never seen like this.
They're driving it right at you.
Back to equestrian. What do you think needs to change about the equestrian industry to move it forward and make it sustainable and
Who are you talking AI now?
Long term. Well, no.
Well, I don't know. You always throw in AI to something.
I'm not sure how AI would play into equestrian, but I'm sure it does somehow.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, because horses are expensive,
right?
A lot of new, we had stem cells and platelet-rich plasma, all those things. We've been using some of that stuff for years before humans do. And then AI is used with sensors on horses to track fitness. So AI is already in our industry. We actually have a webinar coming up 2 weeks with a gal named I think it's the Tech or Equestrian Tech, and she just studies technology in the equestrian world.
Wow.
So I'm picturing like the F1 movie that Brad Pitt just did, where they got all these monitors. Yeah. Did they put thensors all over the horse?
They have saddles that have sensors. They're smart saddles, so
it just depends. Saddle. Man, if you were into horses, you'd have a smart saddle.
No seatbelt, just a smart saddle.
No seatbelt, but smart saddle.
The horseshoes are wearing out. Bring them into the pit.
That's it. Oh my goodness.
Are there any legal things or anything like that you'd like to see happen? Or, I mean, obviously the whole walking horse thing was a big deal, but are there other issues that you would really love to see handled?
That's a hot topic.
Ooh,
I think
he's not afraid of that.
I think that our associations are doing the best they can. There's the United States Equestrian Federation, and then there's the Federation Equestre Internationale, that is the international governing body. And I think that they're really trying. I think yeah, it's just tough. There's good characters and there's bad characters. So, regulation is important. And I think that that's something that, has to kind of rest with the associations.
What do you wish more people knew about your industry?
How much real training and experience people should have before owning horses, riding horses. That to me, it's something that the animal deserves respect, and that respect is given by actually really putting the time in to know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal with like, dogs, for example. Like, people get dogs and they just aren't responsible enough and end up, we've got all these stray dogs.
Yeah.
And dogs are taken into the pound and be put down and all this kind of stuff. Do you see that kind of stuff in the equestrian industry? Like, are there people that are getting these horses that really shouldn't, that end up,
Yes, I don't see so much of it in the end of the industry that I work with, but you do see, the Humane Society taking people's horses from time to time, but I don't see it a lot. I do think that people can get in over their head. It's a horse is not a pet like a dog. And even
Right.
like what you're saying with dogs, like, I think the way we should look at it is, can I be the guardian of this animal? Not what is this animal going to do for me?
Right.
Or is there joint benefit? There can
Right.
be joint benefit, but
Sure.
I think that, we're the ones with the prefrontal cortex. We've got to take some responsibility.
Sure. No, where would you go to get this kind of training that you're saying people really need to have before they go buy a horse?
So there's sort of a couple tracks. I think that recreational riders, sometimes just their parents get them a horse and they learn how to ride just by trial and error. And I don't want to say anything against that, because I've known some people that have come from that and then started taking lessons and turned pro and have contributed a lot. But at some point, people usually need to learn from another professional if their intention is to ride well enough that they're not constantly putting their horse off balance. So that that some of your viewers are going to be, well, God damn it. That's just, it's my opinion. I see it as a responsibility.
Sure.
And you'll see horses with big gnarly bits in their mouth, and the reason they've got that bit is because the riders put them so off balance. They can't stop the horse without it. So, I see things with my eyes that probably most people are going to miss, and most time I just kind of go, okay.
Sure.
But that's what I would wish, is invest in your knowledge, and there's lots of good people to learn from.
Well, if someone wants to reach out to you for your business consulting or advice on competitive riding or real estate development with equestrian, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me would either be on LinkedIn, Elizabeth McMillan, Elizabeth with an S, or through my website, equestrianprofessional.com.
Awesome.
Very good.
Well, Elizabeth, it's been a pleasure having you today.
Right back at you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
See you guys next time. Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Behind the Curtain, Nashville's movers, shakers,
and taste makers.
We hope you've been inspired by the stories of passion, perseverance, and innovation right here in Nashville.
A big thank you to our guests for sharing their journeys, and to you, our listeners, for joining us. And of course, our gratitude to Accord Real Estate for making this conversation possible.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform.
Thank us.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I guess I did. Well, thank us. Okay.
Like I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite platform to catch every episode, and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty more fascinating guests lined up, ready to share their insights and inspirations.
And we love hearing from you. So reach out to us with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for who you'd like to hear from next.
Until next time, keep chasing your dreams and making your mark in Nashville.
Oh, my goodness.
Remember,
am I talking to Casey
it's
Kasem?
the people behind the scenes that make the city shine.
I love it. Take care. See you behind the curtain.